For years, the AI race looked one-sided. OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Meta. Almost every major breakthrough came from the United States. Then, seemingly overnight, names like DeepSeek, Qwen, Kimi, MiniMax, and Zhipu AI started appearing everywhere. Some benchmarks even showed Chinese models beating America's best. So, did China suddenly figure out AI? Or is something much bigger happening? Today, we're diving into the science and economics behind why Chinese AI has accelerated so dramatically. Here's the first misconception. People imagine AI progress like inventing the light bulb. One company discovers the secret. Everyone else is years behind. But modern AI doesn't work like that. It's much closer to Formula One racing. Everyone understands the basic physics. Everyone reads the same research papers. Everyone hires from the same global talent pool. Everyone improves on everyone else's ideas. The advantage isn't knowing a secret, it's executing faster. One reason China caught up so quickly is that AI research spreads incredibly fast. The transformer architecture? Published openly. Scaling laws? Published. Mixture of experts? Published. Reinforcement learning from human feedback? Published. Synthetic data techniques? Published. Open source models made this even faster. When Meta released Llama, when DeepSeek published its work, when Alibaba released Qwen, researchers worldwide could study exactly what worked. Unlike nuclear physics or semiconductor manufacturing, AI algorithms are difficult to keep secret. Once a paper is online, everyone has access. Knowledge diffuses globally in weeks, not decades. For years, people assumed whoever had the most GPUs would automatically win. That's only partially true. Training frontier models still requires enormous compute, but the past 2 years have shown something surprising. Efficiency matters almost as much as scale. Chinese researchers became exceptionally good at asking, how can we get GPT-4 level performance using half the compute? Or 1/3, or even less. They optimized. Sparse mixture of experts architectures training efficiency, inference efficiency, data filtering, reinforcement learning. Instead of making computers bigger, they made algorithms smarter. Think of it like Formula One. One team adds a bigger engine, another redesigns the entire car. Sometimes the lighter car wins. This is one of the most fascinating parts. The US export controls limited China's access to the newest NVIDIA GPUs. Most people expected this to slow Chinese AI dramatically. Instead, it changed the direction of innovation. When compute becomes scarce, every GPU hour becomes valuable. Researchers suddenly care much more about efficient training, better scheduling, smarter architectures, model, compression, quantization, distillation. This phenomenon appears throughout history. Resource constraints often produce better engineering. Japan built incredibly fuel-efficient cars after oil shocks. Spacecraft are masterpieces of efficiency because every kilogram matters. Chinese AI companies faced a similar constraint, not enough cutting-edge chips, so they squeezed more intelligence out of every chip they had. Here's something many people underestimate. China isn't one AI company, it's an ecosystem. Alibaba releases Qwen, researchers improve it, startups fine-tune it, universities publish optimizations. Another company builds on those ideas. Then someone releases an even better open model. The improvements compound. Every release becomes the foundation for the next generation. Instead of 5 isolated labs, you get thousands of researchers moving together. Open source creates positive feedback loops. Knowledge spreads almost instantly. Innovation accelerates. China graduates enormous numbers of engineers every year. Many studied abroad. Many worked at Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, Meta, or NVIDIA. Many returned. Others collaborated internationally before geopolitical tensions increased. The result isn't just more engineers, it's enough world-class researchers to sustain multiple frontier labs simultaneously. DeepSeek, Qwen, Kimi, MiniMax, Zhipu AI, ByteDance, Tencent, Baidu. Each is pushing in slightly different directions. Competition inside China has become intense, and competition speeds innovation. Now, does this mean China has surpassed America? Not necessarily. Benchmarks measure specific abilities: coding, math, reasoning, agent tasks, but building a successful AI company requires much more. Infrastructure, developer ecosystems, safety, enterprise adoption, cloud platforms, customer trust, global distribution. OpenAI and Anthropic still lead in many of these areas, so better benchmark does not automatically mean better product. One of the biggest misconceptions is that China caught up by training its own researchers from scratch. In reality, many of China's top AI scientists were educated in the United States. They earned PhDs at Stanford, Carnegie Mellon, Berkeley, MIT, Illinois, and other leading universities. Many spent years at Google, Microsoft Research, Meta, NVIDIA, or OpenAI. So why go back? 20 years ago, the answer was obvious. If you wanted to work on frontier AI, you stayed in Silicon Valley. Today, that's no longer true. China now has multiple companies willing to fund frontier research at a massive scale. Researchers can lead their own labs, publish influential papers, build products used by hundreds of millions of people, and work much closer to one of the world's largest digital markets. For many scientists, returning home is no longer a sacrifice. It's a career opportunity. This is how innovation ecosystems mature. America experienced something similar after World War II, when scientists from around the world came to U.S. universities because that was where the frontier was. Now the frontier is becoming more distributed. So if the AI race is getting closer, how can America maintain its lead? The answer may not be to simply build bigger models or buy more GPUs. History suggests that lasting leadership comes from shaping the ecosystem, not just winning today's benchmark. Think about the internet. The United States didn't invent every website. It built many of the standards, protocols, chips, cloud platforms, operating systems, developer tools, and research institutions that everyone else relied on. Others could compete on top of that foundation. But America helped define the foundation itself. The same could happen with AI. Leadership may increasingly come from creating the platforms everyone builds on. The chips, the cloud infrastructure, the open research, the developer ecosystems, the safety standards, the evaluation benchmarks, and the regulatory frameworks that become global norms. In other words, don't just play the game. Help write the rules. Because when everyone else builds using your platforms and standards, your influence extends far beyond who tops a benchmark this month. China's rise in AI isn't the result of one breakthrough. It's the product of open science, world-class talent, relentless engineering, fierce competition, and an ecosystem that has reached critical mass. Whether China eventually surpasses the United States is still an open question. But one thing is already clear. The era when frontier AI belonged to just a handful of American companies is ending. The next chapter won't be decided by a single model. It will be decided by who builds the ecosystem that everyone else depends on. And that's making progress faster than almost anyone predicted.